press record.
Oh,
Then we can see if I'll just say good morning to everyone and welcome to the Social Club Cafe, the Social Cafe Club, So nice to have you all here. And today we have Shauna, who is the guest speaker. I'm so excited to hear about what you have to share with us. Good morning.
I'm looking forward to sharing with you too. Morning, everybody.
You are an author. I had no idea that you wrote books.
Yes, I do.
And two of them this year.
Yes, two of them this year. I'm very prolific at writing.
My goodness, two of them this year. That's incredible.
It's interesting because of my vibration is kind of so high. I'm a joy giver, shall we say. I help people to rise to the highest vibration, hence why I'm always smiling. But what I find is that in the higher vibration of me, it's almost like I'm lowering it a little bit to speak because I have to activate stuff to open my mouth. Whereas when it comes to writing, it's like playing with my energy on a piano, if you like. So it flows easier through written words. So that's why I'm quite a prolific writer, and I do writing actually more than I speak. But it's nice to have the opportunity to actually speak. So thank you.
Well, that's amazing. So how did you start writing?
Well, I've just always been, as I said, I've just always been that way where I focus. It just naturally comes that I write more than I speak, really. But it's kind of comes from who I am as a person as a whole. All of us kind of come from somewhere as a soul. We're all part either from this galaxy, or there's people that come from other galactic spaces that pop in with certain things to teach, known as walk-ins. And I'm actually one of those that's popped in. And these walk-ins can either pop in from birth, or they can pop in through part of a lifetime. But they usually have a very high vibrational energy and are all about connecting people with the truth of who they are. And that's what I am about in myself. And I personally connect people with their highest vibration of self, which is the joy. And with that, there's only peace, love, courage, and ultimately creates the joy of the highest vibration of self. And with those things, there's no negativity or kind of those negative emotions that can hinder our flow in life. It's just a happy space where you can just be and teach people how to be, and just in the presence of just sitting and smiling, raise the vibration of others to that just by simply being present. I'm good at helping people empty their rubbish bin of stuff, that's shall I say.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. So walking from different other galaxies. So where do you come from?
I'm from the space of Andromeda.
And so I know that you came from where? I know that Sharma has some. Are you from the Pleiades, or is it Andromeda for you too?
I did put in a comment recently that I may be from Andromeda. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm not. I don't feel certain of that, but that's what came to mind when that came up.
Yeah. Generally when you feel a very strong connection or a very strong vibration of yes, when you hear something, then that's generally telling you that that is your space. There are more and more kind of walk-ins showing themselves around the earthly space, and it's just really exciting times, because it's a time of, it's almost now like the time of huge disruption before a magical moment. And you'll find as well, before any moment in your life where there's great change, there's always a moment of huge upheaval, and it's like, what's going on here kind of moment. And then it's clearing of the way for the good stuff. Are you ready for this new vibration? I'll plonk you this. How do you deal with that? And then you can have this kind of yeah.
Do you think that mankind is ready? Have we reached the level of being many enough to kind of tip the scale? I'm thinking like the 100 monkeys, where you have 100 monkeys who all of a sudden, you have 100 monkeys who are being taught how to wash their hands before they eat. And then all of a sudden, when you reach the 100 monkeys, you have monkeys on other places all over the world who also start washing their hands.
Yeah, I mean, that is
it. Have we become conscious enough to kind of tip the scale? And what do you think?
Well, what I know is that I'm here at this time just because it is the time is now. It's basically we're in a moment of transition where we're moving from the 3D space to the 5D space, if you like. It's a very high, pure vibration. And it's that vibration that I come in from. And that's why a lot of people don't really get me because I am such a joyful person, and I just kind of do things. I do what my heart says rather than what looks to be sensible.
Yeah, and it's hard to fit in when you're like that. It's really hard.
Yeah, I just do follow my heart impulses. If I have a calling, then I act upon it, make it happen. Where I know whether it seems completely off the wall or not. If it's a calling for me, then I make it happen, whatever. But yeah, it is a time that basically humanity itself has lost itself over time, because basically we are all a collective consciousness. We are all connected to each other energetically. Even though we look different, energetically we are the same. And basically we have forgotten, a lot of us have forgotten the connection that we have. And we've got into this realm of separation. And unfortunately with that has come, in a lot of cases, the attitude of that's other people's responsibility, I'll pass the buck to them, rather than when they see somebody in crisis having the if they're in crisis, I'm also in crisis. And whenever anything happens to somebody else, a big event, you will feel it somehow energetically in yourself, even if you've not been at the event. It's how we are connected with each other, but it's how you deal with that as well. When you are in the space of feeling the connection, because even if myself, even though I am a walk-in, I still at moments have periods where I'm unbalanced, if you like, because I have so much coming, because I'm so open and so aware. I hear and feel everybody's stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sometimes like, whoa, you know, what's going on? Because there's so much going on in the world.
Yeah.
And it's differentiating what is actually mine and what belongs to kind of other people that's popped into me in my awareness through the ether.
Yeah.
Because not very many thoughts that we have are actually belong to us personally. In fact, 99% of our thoughts do not belong to us. They're just things that we collect from the ether.
Yeah.
And we got to decide whether we're going to act on them or just blow them away. And it is simple as that, because our breath is one of the most powerful tools that we have. And even when someone kind of really hurts us, we can actually remove the pain by breathing through our heart space and transforming it into a loving energy as we breathe it out. And through that transformation of any pain that we have in our body, raise the vibration without not even knowing it. Well, we do know it, but a lot of people don't know it. But sometimes when something happens, people just go in exasperation with it all. But they're not realizing that in doing that, they're actually raising the vibration of everyone because they're letting go of it.
Yeah.
But to do it consciously, to actually breathe it through the heart space and feel it going through there and transforming and breathing it out, it's even more powerful. So it's kind of raising your game to that level, working it through till it's completely transformed. But also, so yeah, and we're actually building worldwide at the moment to a big change of consciousness. That's why there are people that are very aware, and there's people that are coming into awareness, and so on and so forth. And obviously there's people that are still closed as well, but they also will be rising as we rise. Because if we're sitting here in this conversation, then we are working towards raising our vibration, because that's just who we are as people.
Yeah.
But it's important as well to kind of always register when you are still feeling pain towards something. Like if you've had a painful response, and every so often you get these pangs of kind of stuff coming up to do with it. It's not to be some people go into the space of denial of it and brush it under the carpet and say, well, I'll just brush it there and nobody will know about it, now it's fine. But actually that just kind of affects your body. And then ailments, aches, pains, sort of things start coming in. It's because you haven't transformed your experiences into a loving space. So whenever anything pops up that isn't of a loving, joyful vibration, if you like, if you work with it then and transform it, then you raise the vibration of everybody because of how we are connected energetically in the consciousness.
That's beautiful.
Mary, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Shona, I agree with every word that you uttered since the beginning of this conversation. And the part that I agree the most is that we are, all of us, energetically intertwined. And the reason why I was interested in being here is to learn how to maintain and to stay in the highest vibration of myself. Because we you know, all of us who are in this webinar, we agree and we know everything that you have just shared. But what is, you know, the challenging part of it is, even though we know that we came from love, and you know what created us is from love, is from joy, is positive, is harmonious, is healthy. The challenge that we have as human beings is, number one, to clear ourselves of our past trauma from our you know, youth, our experiences and our traumatic experiences, in order to release this loving energy. So my question to you is, I've been through a lot, and I am sure all of us in this call have been through a lot. The whole world is going through a lot. How can you help us, give us trick on how to release those past trauma and to live in the positive, loving, bubbling, joyful vibration, which is who we are? How can you help us?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, it's all about being fully connected with the self. Many of us, believe it or not, even though we are here and we're functioning, we're not actually connected in our bodies. A lot of us, when we experience trauma, we shatter, if you like. We spread about, and bits of us end up separated from us, okay? And quite often, if you're a sensitive being, and this is where a lot of spiritual stuff is not always what it seems, and sometimes you feel presence of things around you, and it's not actually a spirit of somebody else. It's actually a part of you that is waiting to come back because it's separated through trauma. And what I do to reconnect myself, which is the first part, is to imagine a version of me, a small version of me on my head almost, and as I take deep breaths, see it sinking in to my body. And when you have stuff, is where it will stop. It won't go past where you have stuff. That's and trauma and things like that. So that's when you do that and you get to that layer where it stops, that's when you can begin to clear properly what's going on with you, what's blocking you from your joy, what's blocking you from that perfect relationship, what's blocking you from that perfect career, that perfect abundant lifestyle. It's all in the body. It's not to do with chakras or anything like that. Everything is just in the body, in spaces. And usually sometimes people can stop here because they have so in their head that they just can't allow it themselves in, and they have to start working on all the thoughts that are there. And basically, when it comes to thought patterns, as I said, 99.9%, quite a lot of the time, do not belong to you. Very few of my thoughts actually are mine. And when I'm in my highest and absolute purest vibration, I have none. I just literally radiate. And it's like, so when a thought comes in, first of all, is it mine? You need to consciously begin to do it. If a thought comes in, does it belong to me? If you're not getting a strong vibration of yes, then you can consciously initially just blow it out. So, right, I don't need to hold on to that, and consciously remove it first of all by blowing it away. Say, right, I'm not going to give that energy, because as soon as you give anything energy, if something traumatic happens or something very upsetting happens and it's in your mind for any length of time, it becomes part of your ether and part of your energy field, and then it becomes very more difficult to clear. So as soon as something, to become the ascended master, if you like, the person that's always of highest vibration, that is the person that is there to teach people how to be, then as soon as something bad happens, then you've got to immediately think, well, that's not mine, that's theirs, because they're projecting onto me. And as soon as you make that connection, then you can't accept any of it in. And then you just, if it's something that's been really kind of off the wall and nothing to do with who you are, and it's been real kind of punch in the heart, if you like, then you've got to kind of really get into that space immediately and breathe it, the pain through the heart, and see it leaving you as love energy, whether you see it as being pink or whether you just see love coming out, or however you visualize it. Immediately begin to transform it so it doesn't become part of your energy field, because as soon as it becomes part of your field, you start on the vortex of downward spiral, and you get into the denial stuff and the sweeping under the carpet stuff and the I'm better than that, I'm going to do this because I'm better than that person kind of stuff. And that's not necessary. It's just making the instant connection. That's theirs, they're projecting onto me. I'm just here to transform it into joy or love, or however you see it yourself. And you can begin to do that. And the problem that humanity's got into is it's got too much onto the downward spiral. And that's why we're in this space of so much kind of disarray, turmoil. Wherever you look, there's something that's can be considered disastrous or painful. But you can also turn everything on its head, and this is the other golden rule of keeping your vibration, is turning everything upside down, if you like. It's like when you look and see, say, for example, what's just happened in New Zealand with the earthquake, for example. That is a huge disaster from one perspective. But when you turn it around, it's also transformational. It's bringing people together. It's going to create jobs for the unemployed in the rebuilding. It's going to, bring support, the world in together in support and repair of that space. On that level, it's a transformation.
You can always choose how to react to something big like that.
Yes.
Like this, the election now that was in the US with Trump becoming the president, people were in shock. I believe that he was meant to be the president, and I think that people are just going to have this huge transformation coming out from it, because they have to. they can't deny any longer. They just have to do something else. And I know there was a shooting in Norway a few years back where a man came onto an island where there were a lot of young people and a lot of people from different countries of the world, and he pretended to be a police officer, and he just shot so many young people, killed them basically. He hunted them and he killed them. And he was a racist, and that was his main target, kill as many foreigners as possible. And what people in Norway did was the opposite. They embraced every foreigner. They embraced and they said, we are not like that. We are not going to participate in that. So I do believe that when something awful happens, there is a silver lining to it. You just need to just twist it a little bit and see from a different angle what you can find, because I do believe positive things comes out of bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Fatima, if you are happy with how we are discussing your question. If it's
Absolutely. I just want to make sure first of all, I absolutely agree with what you're saying. In everything perceived bad, if it is turned around, it can be really transformational and beneficial. But I just want to make sure I understand what Anne just provided as an answer to my question. And did you say, number one, that in order to heal your past trauma, you have to imagine a smaller version of yourself sinking in back in your body, number one. Mm-hmm. And number two, in order to remain in a positive vibration all the time, you have to watch your thoughts and ask every thought that comes to you if it is yours, and if it is yours, to maintain it, and if it is not yours, to release it back to where it came from. So those are the two tools that you are offering. Am I correct? Did I understand you correctly?
Yes. If seeing the person coming into the body is all about reconnection, because when you've been through a bad experience, it does shatter your core, and it does, and that's why when we've been through trauma and we feel so, kind of out of ourselves, it's because we are. When you're not fully connected with self, you do feel separated, you do feel scattered, and you can't really connect like you would normally connect because you're not all together there. And that's why it's important when you feel that way to take the time to consciously, it's not a meditative thing, it's a conscious thing, see yourself. That's how I do it. You may find a version that suits you better, but that's how I do it. I see a little version of me sinking in, and that little person being the higher self, the soul, the master of me, coming in, and with it bringing in all those parts that have been shuttered out through the whatever it is, the trauma of whatever it is. And as you feel that coming back in, you can feel the peace coming in, the love coming in, the courage coming in, and the joy coming in, and you just feel you feel those vibrations. And basically, as I said, you tend to kind of get to the space in your body where the biggest level of scattering is, and there you can begin to work on yourself more deeply. And I tend to, with me, usually it's around what we would say, well, it's just the belly really, but if you it's still in the space of working with chakras, it's the kind of solar plexus, sacral base chakra, all the things to do with life is usually where everything kind of collects, and that's why we get butterflies and we get that kind of feeling, knotted feeling in our belly when something isn't feeling right to us. It's basically our higher self saying this isn't the right kind of vibration or the right thing for you to be doing. So when you hear the message, I don't know whether you do affirmations, but there is an affirmation: I listen with love to my body's messages. And it is listening, truly listening, because your body talks to you all the time. And when you say something, I'm going to do this, and you have a tightness coming in your body anywhere, then the vibration of it isn't right for some reason. And that's when you need to take conscious time to sit with yourself. Okay, I've had that tightness there. Is it actually for me? Or is it just something that I need to work with to clear so that I can move forward with it? And again, through listening to your body's responses to those questions, you find out pretty instantly which one it is, and you can work accordingly. Say no to whatever it is, or just work on what's that little block, that, I don't know, fear bubble or whatever it is that's kind of there in your body that's kind of blocking you from achieving whatever it is. What I do usually, just for myself, is I tend to, because breath is so powerful, we think of it just being in the lungs, but you can actually breathe through the entire body. The skin is porous. So when I breathe, I see, even if the block is in my, well, we'll say base chakra, just for the sake of everyone understanding. And you can actually breathe that up into your heart space, and in that space see it transforming, as I said, into love, pink energy, whatever it is for you. And you can breathe out, transform it, and as you're transforming it in your heart space, you're also transforming it in you, and you're also transforming it for everybody else, because you're clearing the ether for everybody. We're all connected. So what is blocking you is blocking somebody else somewhere. So in clearing it from you, you're clearing it from the ether, and therefore everybody, and therefore raising the vibration of humanity, if you like. And that's also why we have so many natural disasters, wars and stuff going on at the moment. It's like I was saying at the beginning, it's that upheaval before the joy moment that we're into right now. That's why there's so many walk-ins right now, probably more than there's ever been here in this moment, because it is that moment of upheaval before the joy. And my purpose is reminding people, okay, yes, stuff's going on, but remember your joy, remember your highest vibration to take you forward, and don't deny anything, just deal with it. The more you deal with it, the higher the vibration will become, and the quicker we bring that around.
And a lot of people have problems connecting to their bodies and allowing the feelings to come up. They are basically in this space.
Yeah.
And I think we do get a lot of influence. We do get a lot of thoughts. We do get a lot of feelings from other people that you might not even be aware of. Me and my eldest daughter, we had an interesting experience. It was like 3 days before Christmas last year, and we sat at the kitchen table in the morning, and we felt so horrible, both of us. And I was like, I'm feeling like this. And she's like, yeah, me too. And I was like, I wonder if it's mine. And I knew instantly it wasn't mine. And we sat there and we talked about it. And we just realized it was the stress that people have before Christmas. We don't stress around Christmas. We like do it minimized, we do it because we like to enjoy each other. We don't celebrate like crazy people. we're not just like that. And so we just realized it was just not the people around us in Sweden. It was just like the whole global, the whole world was in that state, and it was horrible. So we really had to do a clearing on that. It was fantastic. And that was the most powerful feeling I've had, getting it from something outside of me. I have connected to other people, and I think it's a good thing when you have a feeling or when you're thinking about something. Does it really belong to me? I think it's so important to start with that, especially if you're feeling low and there's no reason for me to feel like this. Where does that come from? Is it really mine? I think that's really important.
Very important. And you just made it the absolute point there. There are times when you just feel everybody's stuff. And even the planetary stuff. I mean, I've felt stuff to do with the Earth itself.
Yeah.
I mean, and, sometimes felt like a volcano about to pop, and I'm like, what's going on here? And the next minute I hear a volcano's gone off somewhere, and I'm like, oh, that's what it's about. So yeah, but you do sometimes, there's always duality. That's what this is, duality. And what you just described, Marie, there is a perfect example of it, because there's always the vibrational opposite of you.
Yeah.
You're in your highest vibration. This is another reason why I've been through a lot of stuff, because I'm such a joy bubble that I have a lot of opposite vibration coming in on me all the time.
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly working. Is it mine? Is it not? Most of the time it's not, as I've said. And then you can basically, if it's getting too much, you need to flick it off. Otherwise it takes you away from your axis, if you like, you become unbalanced. You get into the negativity of it all rather than staying into it. And life is a learning curve. It's basically, because I am a walk-in, I came here with full awareness of everything, what my journey was and everything else. And then through experiences of being human, I've actually lost connection with that and regained it. So I've not only have I, and this is where teaching people by example comes into it, because I've had to go through that in order to be able to help humanity to raise its vibration. Because if I just came and stayed da-da, 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 as I am, then people just wouldn't listen to me, because they would just think I was, someone from Planet Zod. Well, we've been on that topic already. I am from outer space. That's not the but it is through going through those human experiences that I am able to help people more in going forward, because I was so aware when I was born. I was able to connect with people and look at them and acknowledge them and remember them. First time I was put down, I was lifted myself up. A newborn baby doesn't do such things, but I did. just because I'm me. And then through experiences, severe bullying because nobody could get me, abuse, domestic violence and everything else I've been through, I got to a point where I was actually suicidal with myself. On a human level, I totally disconnected with me. But then one day I heard a voice. It sounded around me. Remember who you are. This is a walk in the park for you. And at that moment, it was like, yes, okay, now I've got to work on me, get myself around, and go forward, helping other people do what I've done from doing that. And that's what I did. And basically everything that I used to help me that was available in that time, I do for other people now myself. But I also add my own little sprinkling of magic in my own workshops and through the books that I write and everything else. So yeah, it's all about staying connected and remembering. It's about remembering who you really are, because we're not humans with a soul. We're souls having human experience.
And I also learned something that was really helpful for me a few years back, is that when you are experiencing negative emotion, you are disconnected from you, from your higher self, because that is, and in any situation, because your higher self is not judging whatever you are experiencing. Whatever you are experiencing is a good thing, because you learn from it and you grow from it. So whenever you experience something or thinking negative, you can just shift that, because it's not from your higher self, and it's not for your highest good. So that's really helping me a lot when I'm, okay, so I'm disconnected now from my higher self, from my highest being. Is this really how that part of me wants me to feel or think? And most often it's not. What do you think about that?
Well, you've just said it there in a nutshell, really, because you've just basically said the answer as well in your description.
Okay.
Because, yeah, it's not of you. Anything negative is not of you. We are, as I said, we are love here. Just here to create what we want to create. Everything that you've ever seen in your mind for you is what you're meant to have for you. It's wanted for you on the deepest level, and therefore it is achievable and more. Because what you tend to see for you is actually the minimal that you can achieve. And once and there's always more behind it. So it's about, as I was saying, connected and on the journey to achieving that vision that you have, and visualizing. And this again is a conscious thing, it's not meditative. Seeing things as real, seeing that perfect house in the grounds, feeling the grass of it under your feet, feel it, touch those door handles, sit on that sofa. It's about visualizing, making it real, because it's through the visualizing and seeing the realness, feeling the realness of it, that brings it down into your space and makes it real. Because if you are touching it, how can it not become part of your life? And it's like what you were saying before, anything that's negative is not of us. And it's about what I was saying about being unbalanced and tipped off your axis when you get so much plonked on you, or it can even be one person who's just so kind of volatile and negative towards you, and it's like, whoa, this is so not me. But it so affects you because of that. It's like knife in the heart sometimes. And you've got to remove that. Otherwise, before it takes you on the spiral that you don't belong in. And you've got to realize as well, when someone is kind of giving out anger and stuff, well, first of all, it's not of them, but they are at the same time projecting pain that's with them.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's their pain. So if you take it on, if you respond to it, for example, you're taking it on. So if someone says something totally off the wall to you, that's really negative, the answer to it is just walk away and smile. It's the worst. They'll find it the worst thing in the world that you're smiling at them for giving you abuse, but but it's the truth of you is to smile and give them love, because you're seeing the pain and you're also seeing them at their highest vibration. When you're smiling, you're seeing the highest vibration of them and connecting with that. Of course, they're feeling that in the pain in that moment, so they'll just be even more aggravated, possibly at first. But if you just smile and walk away without any response, you're giving them nothing to fire, and they have to learn to deal with it. You're giving them your space holding is really allowing them to wake up to themselves. If you lower your vibration enough to get involved and to respond, then you're actually beginning to take on their pain as your pain, and so the cycle goes on. And that's another reason why we've got to where we've got and totally lost ourselves, because we end up in arguments when there's no arguments to have. And as well, everybody's equal here. There's no competition. There's no, I'm better than that person. There's no, this is my version of this is better than their version of this. There's no, everything is equal, and there's enough for everybody. So in the realization of that, all these niggly, silly things, jumping from the frying pan into the fire, ouch, that person, blah, 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 or anything like that goes out of the window. And actually you can just turn and laugh at the silliness that there was ever any form of projection or stuff ever in the first place from anywhere. Because we're all here with each person with their own innate talent and gift. We're all here with our own purpose, and that purpose belongs to you alone and nobody else. So nobody can pinch your position. Nobody can, pip you to the post, because there is no post. It's just you doing your mission, your soul's mission. And as long as you're doing that, those things that you've always seen for yourself and are working towards will just naturally happen, especially if you visualize them, as I've said as well. It's just the natural process of it. And anything other than that is taking you away from it. So, yeah, the most important thing probably to remember when someone is firing at you is to remember that it's nothing to do with you. It's all about them. and usually probably what they've taken on from somebody else as well before them. So it's just everybody needing to raise their game, wake up to who they are, and clear stuff rather than project it out onto somebody else. And it's down to those who are, in the highest vibration and working towards the higher vibration, are already in that space because they've just popped in that space. Stop the buck passing. You say, okay, it stops here with me. I'm going to transform this to the right high vibration of joy. I'm not going to pass it on to anybody else. It stops with me. And you whatever it is that you've been given that's been hurtful to you, you transform that and raise the vibration for everybody through that. That's the only thing that we really have any control over is ourselves.
Yes, it's true. And I do think that a lot of people want this, but they don't know how to do that. And they have so many feelings and thoughts about themselves. They are not worthy. They are full of shame. They feel guilty about different things, behavior patterns that they had or have that they don't understand where they come from. But I do think that yes, you can start looking, where does that come from? Is that something that my mother did, or is that something that my grandmother did? And how far does that go in the family? And it's not just what we have today. We can have inherit, things and feelings that we also carry with us. But a lot of people have, I'm not worthy. This is so shameful. I don't want to see that within me. I deny this part of me. And I think it's important to realize that, yeah, okay, you did bad things, or you were awful, or whatever happened, or you treated people like this, but just acknowledge that and forgive yourself. I think forgiving is the most important thing. Forgive yourself and then forgive other people. But it always starts with you, because you cannot fully help someone else if you haven't fully helped yourself. Like, you cannot teach someone something if you don't have that knowledge yourself. But a lot of people are kind of lost in, well, I'm not worthy. How can I move forward? I'm stuck. Do you have any suggestions on that?
Yeah, there's that again is, it's a space that I have been to myself, as I said before, through experiences. I went right down and then I've rediscovered myself again. So I've been in that space of feeling not worthy. And but again, it is because you've taken on stuff from the people that are hurting you, and you're taking on it's taking on stuff from the ether. It is. And it's recognizing the duality. Everybody has a shadow self, the self that we don't like, the one that goes boop, stuff, and we have the bubbly self and the love bubble self. And both help the other. It's recognizing that the shadow is helping the joy get bigger, helping you to rise up more. And when we get into the space of feeling unworthy or guilty about something, again, I know when it's people that are there, it's more difficult because they're in a space where they're right down in the vortex. And the truth is, people can only be helped either by themselves or by others if they make the choice. It cannot be done without you saying, right, I'm going to change myself. I'm going to work on me. I'm going to get myself out of this and do whatever. Without that choice being made, the taking responsibility for yourself, then there can be no change. It's all about you and your level of responsibility for you. And when people are, say, depressed and stuff, well, what does the word say? It's because they've pushed themselves so far away that they can't even hear themselves anymore. But they can, it's like I was when I was suicidal. That's the space I was in when I was suicidal. But at the same time, there was still that voice that comes back saying, you can get over this. And when you hear that voice, it's still your choice. It's always down to you. It's all about you. It's your choice. Right, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to get myself to the best I can possibly be. Or you can go, that's a pile of BS. I'm not going anywhere, and you can stay there. But it's always down to your choice. And that's why people in high vibration are often referred to as warriors, if you like. And it's because they've been to the pits of despair quite often. And the warrior of them has said, right, I'm taking charge of myself. I'm taking responsibility for myself, and I'm turning this around. That's why the term is there. Because it takes a warrior spirit to transform that level of pain into a life of simply just being and radiating and smiling. Yeah?
Shona,
Yeah.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
The shadow self.
Yes.
You just said something very, very powerful, that we all have a shadow self and a higher, it's like in the duality of creation, we
Yes.
all have a shadow self, and we also have, I don't know how to call it, the good self.
Yeah, the higher self. Master self.
The higher self. So in creation, we have always this two duality. So there is a lot of spiritual schools that tells you have to fight the shadow self. There is other spiritual school, which is the Christian, mainly the Christian spiritual school, which tells you have to love your enemy. You have to love the shadow self, accept the shadow self. So what is there for us human being? And we are all living in this duality. We all have the higher self and the shadow self. Do we fight it? Do we accept it? Do we love it? And this is the number one question. The second question, you said something else, and that on that statement, I don't agree with you, because you said that in one should see the higher self coming down and reconnecting within our body. The higher self is not coming down anywhere. The higher self is within us already.
I'm talking about when you're disconnected from yourself after a trauma and you're shattered. That's how you reconnect. Yes, it's true. Higher self is within us. But when you go through trauma and you're shattered, I use that visualization to reconnect. You might have your own way of doing it. That is my way of doing it. And it works for me, but it doesn't necessarily work for you. Everybody finds their own way. But your higher self absolutely is inside. But that is my way of reconnecting me after a moment of trauma. I simply visualize my higher self coming into my body because it's separated from me. In trauma, you are separated, you are shattered. So in order to reconnect, you have to do something to bring yourself back together. And that is what I do for me, but you may find your own way of doing it. So that's what that's about. The
shadow.
The first question that you mentioned in regards to the shadow self, it's all about acceptance and love of everything that you are, because we are as we are, and there's nothing is wrong. Everything is always as it should be, and it's just basically working with yourself, because every experience is a lesson for us or a growth for us. So it's all about acceptance. So when we do occasionally fire back or whatever, what is it about us that's made us fire back? What is there? And it's like, oh, okay, it's that part. Okay, I accept that. And now I'll work with that and I'll love that part of me. And in loving that part of me, I transform it. And the more you do that, the more you accept, the more you transform and the less you take on from the ether in regards to negative stuff. If you like, it's like as though we have kind of a antenna, if you like, and it's clean, it comes and it's clean, but there's soot in the ether, for example, like those smoke clouds that we see on TV, sometimes when it's too smoky. That's kind of all these thoughts that are around are kind of like that, and you collect them in the antenna and you experience them. And if you take something on and you fire it, it's like, oh, that was a bit of, it's the shadow self response. It's like, okay, I did that. Take responsibility for that. What is it that it's actually connected with? And say, for example, and this is where we begin to change our DNA imprints that Marie was talking about, from genetics and also other soul journeys. We begin to change the DNA imprint because we can alter that experience in the now. And in altering that experience in the now, we alter the DNA imprint going forward.
And also, I think it's important to acknowledge that you have a shadow. I mean, without the shadow, there would just be half of you. You need the shadow, because if you don't have the darkness, you cannot see the light. That's what I think. It's like when my children come and say that I'm bored. Yes, wonderful. I'm happy that you're bored. And they get so annoyed with me. And I tell them, if you were happy the whole time, you wouldn't realize that you were happy. If everything was just, everything is so funny and, whatever, all the time, they wouldn't know, because they wouldn't see the difference. So I tell them, well, it's good that you're bored. Try to change it and see what happens. So I think we do need the shadow just to see the light. Without the shadow, we can't find it, because we don't realize that we are in the light. And that doesn't mean that we have to take on every negative or horrible feeling or event that happens, but we can still acknowledge that this is the darker side of me, or this is a negative thing that is happening, and then go back to being the best self and see the light instead.
Yeah, everything is a blessing.
Everything is a blessing.
Yeah.
Some come in disguise.
Yes.
So, to I think that I'm understanding what you are all, both saying, both Shona and Mary. You are saying accept the shadow self, love the shadow self, and in loving it and accepting it, you, but in loving it and accepting it, you are still in duality. So how do you come in unity?
Well,
Because
that everything requires balance.
Mhm.
You know, everything has an equilibrium, and there needs to be that equality in everything. Otherwise, we just tip off our axis all the time. So there needs to be the duality and the balance of it, but also being able to recognize, as we've said, and accept the fact that we need the duality to bring the balance. And as Marie said, without it, you can't see the light of things. So it's absolutely essential to have that equilibrium of duality, and that's where the acceptance of it is, because it's the completeness of you, and it teaches you so much about you. Because in looking at the shadow self, the duality, and you can see the growth of it. Every time you show some shadow, the outcome is that your vibration is higher than before. Because in transforming it, you're raising the bar. And so it's essential in the repair of humanity, if you like, to understand duality and bring the equilibrium to it. Because at the moment we're a bit, say this is the positive and this is the shadow, at the moment it's kind of tipping a little bit like this in the world stage. And so we're getting to a point where we're going to get so much into the shadow that there's going to be some, well, we're already seeing natural disasters and warfare and stuff going on. So it's already happening. And through that, as we've already discussed, through the camaraderie it brings, the togetherness, the support that it brings, it's already bringing back the equilibrium. And there needs to be balance. There has to be balance. So in order for everything to move forward in the best possible way. So it's all about, that's why the acceptance is so important, and acknowledging it and taking responsibility for stuff is so important. Every time we do that, we're raising the bar. We're doing this with what's going on in the world, and it's getting to a space where we're just going to go whoop and come back into equilibrium, where, as I say, there is balance, and we recognize that everyone has their own place, and there's no backstabbing, no arguments, no she's got there and I'm not there, but it's the recognition that you're not there because you're meant to be somewhere else that's even better for you, you know. So it's just in taking responsibility and acknowledging the need for that balance and the equilibrium of the duality of the positive and the shadow.
Yes. And also what we focus on has a tendency to grow. And if we are putting a lot of energy into fighting the shadow, it's just going to bring up more of whatever you are trying to push away from. So I've learned that the best thing is just to have the courage to look at whatever you are trying to push down and put away from you, and to really look at it. And most of the time, we are more afraid of looking at it than really working it through. It's like when you build up a fear, and because you don't know what you are going to meet, you don't know what is going to happen. But most of the time, that fear that you have created around it, it's so much bigger than the actual thing that you are trying to push away from you. That's my experience. I also had some other point. I don't remember. Oh, if it's not there, it wasn't important.
Or it will come
It will come back. Yeah. No, I think that working with the shadow is really, really good. I read The Shadow Effect by Debbie Ford, and it was really powerful for me. And she had a lot of tools in that book on how to acknowledge the shadow and not be afraid of seeing those parts of you that you are trying to push away, because they are a part of you. And when you accept them and love them, you can use them in a different way. Things that you have always thought about yourself, oh, this is so annoying, why do I always, and blah, blah. But you can use them, you can transform them, and you can use them in a different way. I do believe that we have good parts and bad parts, but the bad parts are not so bad that you need to push them away from you and hide them. You can transform them and use them in some way.
Everything that is part of you, you can teach humanity to grow with, whichever angle it comes from. There's always a positive.
I don't remember where I heard it, but the phrase, turn the weapons to tools. Turn the weapons into tools. Of course, there's the turning swords to plowshares.
You are breaking up a bit. Can you repeat that,
maybe
please?
It's not so well known.
Can you repeat that?
There's
please?
a well-known phrase in the Bible about turning. I'm trying to. How's my audio right now? Okay, now you froze, Marie.
No.
No?
I can hear you now.
Okay. There's a phrase in the Bible about, I can't tell you where exactly, about turning swords to plowshares. So the image is, taking the swords and melting them down and repurposing them as tools. But and I thought, oh, okay, well, yeah, that sort of stop making war into it. But I hadn't thought of the implication of that until recently, of turning that on my own things that I see as negative. Like I have an edge that often manifests as anger. But it also can be a source of great strength when it's being used by me rather than when it's using me. When I'm in control of it, sort of like a knife in the hand of a thug or in the hand of a surgeon. That's how you use it. And there's a technique that I relatively recently encountered that I think has been really good for transforming. For some reason, I don't like the phrase shadow side, but transforming. I'm just going to say negative experience, whether it be internal or external, or I should say apparently external, because there really is nothing. There is no out there.
All about perception.
Exactly. It's all our perception. And this practice is called Ho'oponopono. It's an ancient Hawaiian practice. And what it is essentially recognizing whatever the negative experience that's coming up is recognizing it as a part of you that is calling to you for your attention, for reintegration. And the practice is that you acknowledge this. So if it's somebody yelling at you, or if it's something from inside, something that's coming up from inside you that's negative, you sort of kind of say, oh, okay, hello. and then you say the phrase, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And it's not about feeling bad, like, oh, I'm so sorry, like feeling like, but those phrases are very high vibrational phrases.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like it's bathing this aspect of you that's calling for your attention in this positive vibration. And I found it very useful to in bringing myself, in transforming these experiences and, raising my vibration. I've done it now. It's not like if someone's yelling at me or doing something to me that I think is unfair or whatever, I'm not usually saying this to them directly. I usually go, walk away after the fact, and I'll sit down and if it's a person that I had an argument with or whatever, negative interaction, I'll picture that person in my mind, and then I'll say this phrase. And the order of it doesn't really matter, but that order is what works for me. And I'll say it as many times as I feel I need to. It's not a set number of times until I feel like, okay, that's, I've purified any negative feeling around that. I did this one time. I got in an argument with somebody on Facebook, and it was the post was actually from a dear friend of mine that I've known for 30 years. She knows me very well. If I get out of line, she won't hesitate to call me and say, hey, you're out of line. So I tried to relate that to this person that was defending her. Now, this is my dear friend, and this other person is defending my dear friend from her perspective. She was defending her, but she was really laying into me, really, really hitting me with a lot of negative stuff. And I didn't want to, one thing is I didn't want to get a lot of negativity going on my friend's post, because I had moments where I really wanted to come back at her with the same sort of negativity. But I stayed calm through 3 or 4 different posts. And at the end, I finally was like, okay, I want to stop this. She's not here. She wasn't hearing me. I was trying to tell her, you don't need to defend her from me. She is my dear friend. And, we understand each other, but she wasn't getting it. So finally, what I did was I actually posted that phrase, those phrases. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And I actually put a picture of an angel under it just for effect. And I never heard another thing from that particular post again.
Yeah,
so,
it is powerful.
Yeah.
I use that one too.
Before we wrap this up, I want to talk about New Zealand.
Okay.
Because I know you, Shauna, you are going to travel to New Zealand.
Yes.
You are you are putting, it's not a GoFund, but it's a funding of some sort where you can, you're raising money.
I'm raising money to help in New Zealand. Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I am going to fly out there and see what I can do to help. It's like I've said at the beginning, when I have a calling, whether it seems sensical or not, I just act upon it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a calling that I had in the instant, and it was a strong calling.
Mm-hmm.
So so this is what I'm doing to be able to help any way that I can. Yeah, in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when are you leaving for that?
I am leaving as soon as I can, really. And I'm hoping to be there in the new year and doing my works
Well, that's
there.
wonderful.
Yes.
And I also know that you are going to participate in some other thing that is going to take place down under in the Global Rising.
Global Rising Summit,
Global
yes.
Rising Summit.
Yes.
What is that all about? There's a lot of people coming together for several weeks, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Again, it's about speaking out. It's about raising vibration. It's about connecting with the purest part of self and putting your mission and everything that is part of you out there, and moving forward. And it's all, it's about bringing awareness to what's going on in the world and the raising of the vibration, and people that are here to assist and lead in that space. We have been in, even I can confess to this, we've been in a space of hiding, if you like, not being open about who we truly are. But it's kind of got to a point really now where, well, trying to fit in just didn't work anyway, so
I can't be bothered anymore.
so it's kind of like, well, speak out, to say no, get it out there, and move forward with the vibration of that.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I can't be bothered anymore. I've tried to fit in for like 40 plus years, and I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just not. I'm so sick and tired of it. I'm just me, and if you can't handle it, then you're not on my tribe. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
I mean, that's kind of something that I've always, as I say, because I'm such a joy bubble, I radiate more than anything. And obviously, as I said at the beginning, I'm a good writer because I kind of play the piano with the energy that I am when I radiate. Speaking out is a new thing for me, and actually I didn't actually speak till I was like 2 years old because I was just so happy, like radiating, sitting there smiling and doing to make people smile. It just didn't bother me that I couldn't speak, really. And when I did, and also as well, it's almost as like words don't match the vibration that I have so often in speaking. The words aren't there in like human language almost, and it's like, how do I bring people to the highest vibration if the words aren't there? That's kind of been my my thing that I've been working with. And actually it's when I radiate, and in that radiation of the joy, there's only one word. There's the wow, there's the woo, there's the yay, those type of words. And you'll see when I write to you, I always emphasize those words because they're part of my highest, the vibration that I am, and I do use them quite often. But some quite often they're the only words that remotely say what I want to say. And actually, when I first started speaking, everybody thought I was off the wall because they thought I was making up words, but it's actually because I hadn't heard the word that matched what I wanted to say. So I spoke a mixture of obviously English and light language at first, because what words aren't there in English, they are in light language. So I used to kind of speak words of both languages, and people were
I
like,
love that. I love that. Light language. I just love it. That is perfect. And it makes so much sense. Light language. Oh, I love it. Beautiful. Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful. So you're going to, so now you are practicing before the Global Rising Summit. I know that there are going to be so many speakers, and I know that they're going to be in different topics, but it's all, you're all coming together with all of this high vibration, and you're going to spread your knowledge. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to participate in the audience of it all.
Yeah.
And
There's actually 36 speakers.
yeah, I know there's many of you, and it starts December 5th, isn't it? And it's going to continue, is it what, 12 weeks or something? Am I wrong?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember. It's the 20th of January or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something like that.
Something that I think actually goes into February when it stops. But it's all at the highest vibration of it all.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to
Can
be
we
posting
have
a link.
Can we have more information about that summit?
Yeah, I'm going to post a link about it, and I'm also going to post a link to Shaunat's fundraising for New Zealand, so you can chip in if you like to do that. So I'm going to post about that, Fatima. And
Thank you so much.
Yes, we have to wrap it up now, guys. It's been absolutely wonderful. I've loved this discussion that we've had. We are going to do it at 8 o'clock Sweden time, 7 o'clock UK time this evening. It's another link, and it's posted in the group. So if you want more of this, please come and join us. Thank you so much, Shauna. It's been amazing. Thank you guys for being here, and I hope to see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.